Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Joe Rogan podcast. Today, I have a very special guest here to speak on why and how the ancient Egyptian pyramids were made. Please welcome Cael Maier.
Hey Joe, thanks for having me on. I spent a whole semester researching for this moment and want to get right into it. What kind of questions do you have about the ancient Egyptian pyramids?
Well, first I'd like to ask you, why were these great structures even created in the first place?
It's honestly very interesting, Joe. These monuments were actually built in honor of the Pharaoh at the time. You know, the leader of Egypt. The Pharaoh had these built in order for his body to be protected in them after death, so he and his many belongings may be preserved for the afterlife. These pyramids were also giant mazes containing many booby traps, making sure no grave robber would be able to enter and vandalize the tomb.
Whoa, you say something about the afterlife? What do you mean? You mean like DMT?
No, not DMT, Joe. These ancient people believed heavily in the afterlife and even practiced mummification. This is why the Egyptians took a dead person's body and removed the stomach, heart, liver, and lungs and stored them in multiple separate jars. They preserved the body in chemicals and wrapped them in linen in order to finally lay them to rest. This happened to the Pharaoh after death as well, leading to why the pyramids were made, so they could keep his body and belongings secured.
Wow, that is very interesting. How long would it have taken to build one of these gigantic pyramids? Must have been a pretty long time, huh?
Why, yes, it did take a while to move over 2.3 million of the 2.5 ton stone bricks onto each other in order to construct these. It is unknown just how long it actually took to build one pyramid, though, due to it being lost in time and the mystery that's surrounding the monument in order to keep the pharaoh's tomb a secret. However, it is presumed that the largest Egyptian pyramid, the Great Pyramid, took around 15 to 20 years to build.
Wow, I would have thought it'd been a lot longer. That is crazy. Do you say 2.5 ton stones? How on earth did this ancient civilization manage to move these blocks into place, especially within 15 to 20 years?
Well, first, it took a lot of manpower, and I mean a lot. And to remind you, this is all before the invention of the wheel also. But what is so unique about how they moved these stones is actually how they built up massive sand hills to hoist the blocks up into the sky, and then used an abundance amount of water for the sake of reducing friction on the way down and to help reduce the amount of pushing and pulling that it had to take on to move these stones. They got this water from the Nile River, the longest river in the world.
Wow, that is incredible. I had no idea it came from the Nile. I would have never known. You stated something about the amount of manpower it took to create these massive tombs. So, I wanted to ask you, just who built these pyramids? I have heard many different theories and conspiracies spanning from slaves of the civilization, enslaved Jewish people, as it states in the Bible, all the way to aliens. What are your thoughts on that?
Ha ha ha. It wasn't aliens that built these structures at all, nor slaves. It was actually out-of-season farmers who were paid to work on these gigantic structures when they were out of work. They had hundreds of thousands of people who would work on them in order to be paid and to be able to feed their families. No aliens or anything, just an incredible human feat. The workers were a mystery for the longest time, until millions of cattle bones discovered across the desert were actually discovered to be used for the massive workforce that went into these tombs.
Wow, that is incredible. Well, thanks for coming on the Joe Rogan podcast, Cael. Anything else you'd like to say? You really blew my mind today. Thank you for all the interesting facts and clearing things up about the ancient Egyptian pyramids.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, Joe. I'd just like to say that these structures will always be important in today's history and the present world, because it shows just what humans can achieve when we work together to make something as legendary as the Great Egyptian Pyramids. We can create timeless masterpieces of art that will go on to be seen by millions of people across the world. I'd like to thank you, Joe Rogan, and I'd like to thank the fans for listening.
And to everyone who's listening, make sure you check out Cael's Instagram and Twitter to find more information about the pyramids and more interesting facts about the man himself.
Thanks, Joe.